Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I'm going to cover a rather interesting sort of topic or sort of notion, and that is the concept that if it's made in Japan, it's going to be better. Okay, so today's I'm going to go over a couple examples in the popular media of things that the Japanese have improved on or have done well on. Of course, we always know that things like electronics and all that kind of stuff is always very popular. But I'm going to go cover some of these media examples. Okay, and so the first one that I've covered in a previous episode is the animated series for the X-Men. Okay, so yeah, they made a TV series, anime cartoon TV series called the X-Men, and then when they transported it over to Japan, the Japanese decided to make a new opening theme song for the X-Men, and the music for that uses the band called Ambience. Okay, and they use that as their opening theme song for that. So they really dressed it up. It's got a heavy metal sort of beat to it, and really high energy. And then again, all the characters are also reanimated in an anime style. So lots of action, lots of gore. So basically they really improved on the animated X-Men that we know. Okay? So that's the first example of some media improvement. Okay. Now the next two examples are kind of a little bit obscure, and there's a little bit of a backstory to it, which I'll get into. Okay. So back in the in the 80s, one of the big things that came out of the 80s was this whole entire concept of the Ethiopian famine relief. Okay, so basically there's a big drought and famine that occurred in Ethiopia, and basically the world has came together and came in with this concept that if we get all these musical artists together, we can make a fundraising sort of album, and the proceeds of the of this album would go towards famine relief. Okay, so of course we're all familiar with Do They Know It's Christmas from Band Aid, We Are the World from USA for Africa. Okay, but I'm going to go over two examples which was made better by the Japanese, and I'll tell you how. Okay, so the Canadian effort was called Tears Are Not Enough, and it was made by the band the Northern Lights. And basically it's a compilation of 20 years of Canadian history and musical artists and that kind of stuff all together into a group, and they made a song called Tears Are Not Enough. Okay? The CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, made a documentary which basically had the making of, and they released this on a VHS video cassette. Okay, now it took me several years to actually finally come across something that was actually selling, and it cost me pretty close to $100 to actually get a copy of the actual video cassette. And when I got the video cassette, I got it into my DVD, and transferred it onto a DVD, and basically got a copy and tried to get it off the tape before it actually degraded to a point where it really couldn't be played. But when I did that, I transferred it and basically made a version that could be posted up on YouTube. And the one sort of tail sign of the wear that was on this video cassette was there's this weird color discoloration bar that was on the one side of the actual video. But I couldn't do anything about that because it's just the way that I guess the tape is deteriorated, and just basically how the machine played the tape back. But I made a basically making of the Tears Are Not Enough for the Northern Lights thing, where I basically went through and did quite a bit of lengthy research to basically try to figure out all the names of all the artists that participated in the making of that video, and basically tried to locate them in the music video. Okay, again, because it's a VHS copy, it's really grainy, it's really hard to do anything with. Okay, but I managed to post this video up back in 2015. And again, if you would like to, you can go onto YouTube right now and type the making of the Tears Not Enough by the Northern Lights, and you'll see you'll see a video that I've made with all the singers' names. So basically, I've marked out the video and parts of the video where the singers and stuff are located in the song. So just so you'll know where they are. Okay. So the story doesn't end there. I continued searching a little longer, and I found, of all places, a Japanese website, of course, the Yahoo Auctions. Apparently someone had made a version of the Tears Are Not Enough on DVD. Okay, so I picked this up, okay, from Auctions Japan, okay, and I thought, this is really strange. Why why the CBC didn't even make like a DVD, obviously, because obviously they don't even have it at this time. Why I'm finding this on a Japanese website? So I picked this up. And I ordered it in, and then did a little more research, and then I realized that the Japanese actually made a laser disc of the making of Tears Are Not Enough. And the interesting thing about this particular laser disc, which I later found out that this DVD that's in this thing is actually a DVD-R copy of the laser disc that came out in Japanese, because it has a hard subtitled laserdisc subtitle on the actual disc. So it's subtitled in Japanese to help the Japanese people who understand the English dialogue that's in the documentary. So that was basically transferred off the laserdisc onto the DVD. Now, normally, people would be upset about this, but because of the rarity of this particular video, I was really excited to get this higher quality, basically, essentially laserdisc version, laserdisc quality version of this documentary. And what makes it really interesting is that because this particular video was made for the Japanese audience, a lot of certain artists, Canadian musical artists that are not popular in Japan, were omitted from the actual video. Okay. So, for example, because I have both the versions of the cassette that was released in Canada, and of course the laserdisc that was eventually released in Japan, certain artists like Corey Hart, Neil Young, are not actually on the Japanese version, because I guess they weren't very popular in Japan, so they were actually omitted from the actual video. Okay. So again, what I did later on is I started putting together a newer version of this making of Tears Not Enough with singer names version 2. And as I'm collecting up this, all the video clips and that kind of stuff, and trying to make a very complete sort of name recognition, name spotting video of it, I found out that during the 30th anniversary of the making of Tears Are Not Enough, the CBC, the people who made the video in the first place, had an anniversary, basically 30-year anniversary of the of that video, and they invited Jim Vance, which is again Bryan Adams, partner and songwriter and the producer. Okay, they brought him on there, and the news broadcast that the CBC did couldn't find the original video that they made for this making of. So much so that they actually just went to YouTube and basically was looking for basically scenes from the making of. And surprisingly enough, they pulled my video, which I initially released, with that, and some scenes of Jim Vance playing the drums and all that kind of stuff. They pulled that off of YouTube and used that on their news broadcast. And what makes it so interesting is because remember I told you that when I made the copy of the video, it was so scratchy, and there was this really weird band line that's in the video. That was because that's how the video degraded, and there was that a band was made of there. Well, the CBC broadcast, you will see, actually has that same defective band in it, which really it's kind of funny because basically that's how you identified how they actually took the video that I had posted on YouTube and used that again on their video. So again, I took their clip of the news broadcast and put inserted that into my second version of the video to basically, to round it out and to basically make it complete. So again, if you have a chance, go see that video. The Tears Are Not Enough, making of with singers' names, version 2, which will give you the complete thing. I broke it into 3 parts, so make it a little bit easier for you to watch. But have a look at that. And so that's another example of, why would a feature, featuring Canadian artists and Canadian, singers and that kind of stuff. Why would that interest the Japanese so much? Well, here we are, the CBC releasing things on video cassettes and not even keeping a copy for their own archives. Yet the Japanese have gone through and already, mastered it as a laserdisc, and basically, helped us preserve that piece of Canadian history that now that I have now a copy of through basically Yahoo Auctions now. So I was thankful for that. Okay, and that leads me to the my third example, and also it's in the same courses of a theme here. Later in that famine relief effort for fundraising sort of videos, the heavy metal community put together an album with the help of like Dio and various artists from Quiet Riot, Twisted Sister, and all that other stuff. They got together and made a song called Stars. Okay, and their creative band name was called Hearing Aid. Anyway, again, they of course made the song, the single. They also made a making of video cassette. Okay, but again, strangely enough, why would a bunch of Japanese be interested in heavy metal music? Again, things like Kiss and that kind of stuff was really, really popular in Japan.
It came about because of a radiothon.
The Japanese have went on and made a laser disc of the making of Hearing Aid, okay, or Stars from Hearing Aid, okay. Again, somebody was kind enough to basically digitize and post that onto things like YouTube and whatnot, so that's available for you to watch. And the interesting thing about that one again is that the entire video is all subtitled in Japanese, again to assist the Japanese people watching it to help translate the English dialogue that's going on in the interview and of course in the song. Right? And so you'll find that it's really interesting that here we are in the U.S. They're releasing video cassettes to raise money for the famine relief, and of course in Japan they've gone off and remastered all these things onto laser discs, and of course after all these years it's the laser discs that have survived. And so as long as you had the machine to play it, or have the ability to convert it to at least a DVD or something, then now we actually have those pieces of history again, thanks to the Japanese. And of course, leads back to my beginning of the episode where these things are been made better in Japan. All right, so what you want to go do right now is go below, click like, and click subscribe, and get more interesting stories about Japanese stuff and conventions and other anime related things. Okay, so until next time, see you again.